Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. Today we have the presentation being made by Jeff Ross, who heads up our customer success division, and accompanying him is Sylvain Doré, who is our CIO and also heads up our pro services division. Today's focus is going to be at a very high level. The intent today is to show you lots of different use cases for tags. Tags has been a feature in Aproove for maybe a year now, but we have been expanding the use cases for that all across the product. So tags can be used in many, many different ways for many different business scenarios. So today we're going to focus on giving you some different use cases from a business objective. If anyone after this demonstration wants to know how to build these tags and these workflows, then we're more than happy to set up a one-on-one session with our customer success team, and they can sort of show you how that all works in the administration interface, and we can help you get to where you need to be. So I guess that leaves me to pass you over to Jeff. Before I do that, I just want to make everyone aware that at the bottom of your screen, you should see a little button that says Q&A. If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to type them in that Q&A area. What we will try and do is answer them while the webinar is ongoing. And if needs be, we can circle back on them at the end of the webinar as well. So I'll pass you over to Jeff now, and we'll get underway with the webinar.
Thank you, Gary. Hello, everyone, and welcome. In this presentation, we'll be showcasing tags, one of the many powerful tools at your disposal in Aproove that can enhance your work management. We'll start by looking at the types of tags available in Aproove, and then Sylvain and I will tag team, pun intended, a live use case demonstration showing how tags can benefit business processes. So let's take it from the top. What are tags? Effectively, tags are labels made available to users in different areas of the user interface. Tags are permission-based. You create them within a team, and then they become available to that team. In other words, private by team. If you're working with more than one team in Aproove, this becomes beneficial. With proper permissions, a user can add more than one tag to the same element, whether it be note, project, proof, or section. The system tracks the number of unique users that apply the same tag to the same element. You can see that on screen here in the proof tag with the counter 2 within the tag showing that 2 unique users applied this same tag. And by the way, all tag types are voting enabled. Tags can be configured to be hidden. You might ask, how is a hidden tag beneficial? And I assure you that is no ragtag feature. In fact, it is a sophisticated way to enhance tag filtering. Tags can be assigned at task level or project level. So tags available within a task would be available only when the user is working in that task. And if made available at the project level, say per a schema, that user could go into the project straight away from the project's dashboard and have access to that tag. So the next question is, how can these tags be used? And management and organization tops the list. At the basic level, tags communicate vital information visually. You may slap an approval tag on an entire section of proofs instead of having to tag each proof. Or you could call attention to a project with a high priority project tag. In the flat plan, you can filter proofs by proof tag. Even automation is possible with tags. Adding or deleting a tag can trigger an action. You may add a specific tag and it automatically adds another specific tag, even of a different type. Same with deleting. Another example could be creating an automation where adding a tag triggers an email to the project owner. You can search by tag within Aproove and include tags on PDFs that you export from the project and reports that you run. Now let's take a look at tag configuration. A tag can be multi-purpose and can function on different levels. So you could create a tag, and as seen on screen, if you enable it as a note, proof, section, and project tag, that tag will be available in all those areas. This works assuming the settings are the same in each area. You can also control the look of your tag. So you can choose your background color, your text color. You can add a custom graphic which appears in front of the text. You can require a comment for a tag. This is very handy, say for a rejected tag, where you may want the user to include an explanation of why they rejected that tag. And along those lines, you can also configure a task to require a tag. So that, in other words, a note could not be saved without the addition of a tag. We've integrated forms into tags. And a form in Aproove collects information as metadata and saves it into the project. To learn more about forms and tags, please visit our website or our YouTube channel for the webinar that we did on forms and tags. So now that we've defined what tags are and what they can do, let's move into the use case demonstration. I'll let Sylvain paint the picture of our live example scenario, but our first stop is project tags and how they can be used to categorize projects.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. So I will start by sharing my screen. And let's go with this one. Okay, so in this first example, we're going to show you a very simple example of how you can use tags to categorize certain objects in Aproove, whether a section or a project or a note. In this particular case, we're going to categorize a project, and we're going to set a project to be a high priority project. So you, for example, you could have thousands of projects in your system, and a few of them are high priority or high visibility customers, and you want to make sure that those get sort of special attention, but they could be different projects. So it's not necessarily one particular type of project. It's anything that you've deemed as high priority for whatever reason you want. So I'm in my to-do list here, and I will open up my tasks that will grant me access to some of the tags. So I've got the welcome screen and this chat screen. So I'm in our flat plan now for this project tag webinar live example, and I can add from within the flat plan, I can add project tags. These are the ones that have been configured within my task. And so as you can see, I've got 3 different tags that I can add to the project at the project level. So either a demo, high priority, or internal review. In this particular example, we'll just flag this project as high priority. And before I do that, I will go back into my project list. I just want to show you that I've pre-created in my list of projects. If I go to all projects, I've got a whole bunch of projects here, but I've got a high priority projects filter here that essentially lists all the projects that have that particular tag. And as you can see, this list is empty right now. So I will go in here and just flag this project as high priority. So now it's got the high priority project. Keep in mind that in my case here, I've been set up to allow my user to add more than one tag. So I would be able to add the other tags as well if I wanted to for this project. And I will then go back to my project list. And if I just re-click on this, refresh it, as you can see, the high priority project shows up in my list. So this is a quick way to filter projects or categorize projects. You can obviously combine things, combine different projects, different tags, and make things very, very flexible in terms of filtering how you see your projects, but also just visually from your project list, you can clearly see that, okay, this is a high priority project. So obviously we made that tag red, and so that's very, very visible. All right, Jeff, over to you for the next scenario.
All righty. Thank you, sir. All right, so as Sylvain just showed us, we can categorize a project by type or by status. We can see the tag in a column on the home page, on the projects and tasks dashboard. And we saw the advanced feature that Sylvain created, high priority projects, to sort projects by tag. So our next stop are proofs and sections. And over to Sylvain for more on that.
All right, so we're going to be using the same project. So go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm in the same task here. And I will be looking at, as you can see, it's sort of a CD label and disc, like a CD cover and a disc label that we've got here for Jeff's new album, Steakhouse. And I will be going on to this proof here, and I will add two note tags. So I will add some. Let's add a note here for this. Actually, before I add the notes, let me show you the proof labels first. So as you can see, you've got labels you can add at the proof level here, as well as when you add a note. So if I add a note, if I want to add a note, let's say I want to add a note to change this S to capitalize it. Let's say if it wasn't capitalized, you can see that some of the labels are automatically added. These are what we call default labels. So this is configured at the task level where you force certain labels to appear, and also give the user the ability to add more labels as well. So for this particular one, for example, I'm going to add the for customer review label to this note. And then I will add another note. Let's say here, let's say something, make the black less black. And then I will mark this one as internal review. So this note's only available internally, essentially, is what I'm saying here. And you'll see in our next example, you'll see how this is relevant. So as you can see, my notes have been added with two tags, one that's automatically added because I'm part of the marketing team, and the other one is added manually. So one's for customer review and one's for internal review only. Now, I can also add tags at the complete proof level. So instead of adding just at the note, I can add a tag at the proof level. So for example, I could add, I've got these tags that are available at the proof level. So let me add the like tag here. And this is where we'll have Jess do the same thing and add the like. And you'll actually see that while I'm in this screen, you see that somebody added a like option as well to my proof. So we're actually, go back in here, you can see the proof tags are visible here. So we know that I've liked it. Jeff, did you add the like tag to this proof?
Hang on, sorry, I like the first one. I actually like them all. It's all in a name, you know? But
What is your album? Yes.
exactly. Okay, mission accomplished.
There we go. So now you can see the little two icon appeared, so showing me that two people liked it. If I click on it, it actually shows me who's liked this particular proof. I can obviously delete my tag. I can't delete Jeff's tag, and then just unliked it. Okay, so now we added, let's go back in here and add the for customer review to this proof. And the reason we're going to do that is going to become clear in the next in the next example, but where I'm adding a customer review to this note only, but not this note. And I'm adding the customer review for this proof only, but not the other proofs. The last thing I want to talk about is section tags. Not every one of you guys use sections, but sections are essentially a way to group different proofs based on a naming convention. So you could use parts of the name and then automatically build sections or groupings of proofs. And a proof can be part of multiple sections. So in this case, we've got two sections, a disk label. If I click on it, it just shows me the section disk label. And then the jewel case just shows me the front and the back cover of the jewel case. In this particular case, I'm part of the marketing team, and I want to flag both of these proofs as approved by marketing without clicking the approve button, because this actually locks the proof. I just want to notify people that marketing has approved these. So I could go in and click on each of those proofs and add the marketing approved tag to each of them. But if I had 1,000 proofs in my section, that would be quite tedious. So what I can do is instead is add a section tag. So you can add them here. When you've got the section selected, it allows you to add a section tag. So I'm just going to add the marketing approve to this section tag. And so you can see the proof tags here, and you can see this section has no tags, and this one has the marketing approved tag. All right, and so I believe as a marketing person, I am done with this task. So I'll just close off my task and just say this is approved for the next step, which will be the customer review. And back to you, Jeff.
All right, thank you. All right, so as we saw a lot in that last segment, we saw the application of a section tag, a proof tag, a note tag. And in the next step, in the next use case, we will see some of that automation, some of the functionality, and how the tags work together.
All right, let me share my screen again. And this one here. All right, there we go. So I'm now the customer, and I've been sent a task. So you can see from my task list, I've got like a new task here. That's the customer review. So I open up this task, and I can now see the tags that are set on this proof. But this task is special. It's been set up to only show me the proofs that have for customer review. So if I open up the flat plan, I can only see the proofs that have been flagged for customer review. So that's one very useful feature for tags is the ability to filter the proofs and only filter on specific tags. You can actually go further than that and be more granular. You can even filter on the versions, specific versions. For example, right now I only have one version of this proof. If I had, let's say, 3 versions of it, but I only want the customer to see version 1 and 2, I could tag version 1 with this for customer review, tag version 2 with this customer review, and not tag version 3. And then my customer would then only see the first 2 versions of that proof. They wouldn't be able to see the latest version. And so you can be very, very granular on how you use these tags. There is an option in Aproove to say that the proof tag will apply to all versions, but the default is to apply version by version. So let me go into the only proof I can see now as my customer. And in that one proof, you'll notice that I'm not seeing all the notes. If you remember correctly, we made 2 notes, one that was for internal and the other one had the tag for customer review. This is, again, another way you can filter things. You can set up your task for customers or for internal people to only see specific notes, only the ones that pertain to or that contain a specific tag. So in this example, we're only showing the customer the notes we've flagged as for customer review. Another really good example of that is if you've got 3 different departments, let's say legal, compliance, and graphics, looking into Aproove or making changes, and you want them to focus on just the notes that have changes that are requested for their department. So the legal team will only see the notes that have been flagged for legal, and then the graphics people will only see the notes that have been flagged for graphics only. So that's a really good way of flagging or categorizing the notes, but then also filtering on what people see in certain tasks. So you could have a task just for the legal people where they only see the legal notes. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So in this one proof, so I only have this note here. I'm going to add a new note here. And let's say I'm not sure about the J here. And as you can see, if I add a note, it automatically adds customer review. So this is my automatic default tag that gets added. So let's call this, I don't know, change the font. And I can also add more tags to it. And in this case, as you can see, I've got different tags that are available, because in each task that you create, that you set up, you can specify which tags are available for that task and what order they will show up in the list here as well. So you can make the more relevant one at the top, or the ones that are most used at the top. All right, so let's add the editorial one for that one. And let's save this note. So my note's been added. One of the cool things you can do as well within the viewer is you can filter on specific tags. So when you filter the notes, when you hit this little search icon here, it will search the notes. You can search on the content by typing some text, or by user. But one of the cool things you can do is also filter by tag. So for example, if I go back to my legal, compliance, and graphics example, let's say you decide that you want to make all the notes available, like visible to everyone. But then the legal person, they go in and they say, well, yeah, I'm fine seeing all the notes, but I just want to quickly filter on the ones that I need to worry about. So they could just hit this filter by tag and then pick the tag they want to see. So for example, if I want to see just the editorial tag, the notes with the editorial tag, I can filter that way, and then it'll just show me what I want to see. And so there's other places where we can filter, but for now, I'm just going to show you this part, and we'll go back to Jeff, and then we've got 2 more cases to talk about. Over to you, Jeff.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we saw a lot there as well. We saw a new default tag in customer review. We saw another default tag at step 2 for marketing. We saw some filtering going on both in the proof level and at the note level. And most significantly, I believe we saw policies. In this case, it was at the note level. This can also be done for proofs. So in the same way that Sylvain made one of the 3 proofs visible to the customer, we could also accomplish that through the application of proof tags. So moving to our next feature, we're going to show you how the dynamic feature in Aproove called Forms teams up with the tag within a note. Back to you, Sylvain.
Thank you. All right. So we're back in the same, we're in the same task. Forms are a way of requesting a user to enter metadata. So you might have used forms. We actually have a whole webinar on how to use metadata in forms. And that functionally has existed for a while in Aproove. And we added about a year ago, we added that functionality to tags, allowing you to sort of structure the way that comments are entered in a note. We've got a couple of customers that make very extensive use of note tag forms. So they're forms on tags that are added to notes. So let me give you an example here. Let me add a comment here. Let's say I can add just a quick comment here, and let's say use the new logo instead. And then I'm going to, I could just add the comment here, but it's not very structured. So instead of doing that, I'm going to add a change request tag to this note, and this will bring up the form. There's a form that's attached to this tag, and it brings up the form and allows me to categorize the different comments or capture metadata for this particular note. Keep in mind that each note that has a form will store its own metadata. So each note will have different set of metadata, and we'll show that. I'll in this case, I want to change the image. So I'm going to put this in the image field and save this. And I don't even need to put a comment because all of my information's in my tag here. I'll save this one, and then let's add another one to let's say I don't like the word steak, so let's go change that. And I'm going to add the change request, and in the copy here, use the word, or just say change to tofu. So we're going to make that change. So I've got these two notes that have been added, and they don't have any note comments in here because everything's sort of structured in that form. So if I click on this little form icon here, it'll bring up the form and show me the values. And you can see that if I click on the other one, it actually switches over where that note is and then shows me the different value. So every single note that has a tag with the form can have different values for that note. So this is actually quite powerful. If you can imagine, for example, that further down the line in this workflow, we've got one of our graphics designer who works in InDesign and uses the Aproove InDesign plugin. That person will actually be able to open up these notes and see the forms and see all of the information in those forms in a very structured way. So it takes the guesswork out of providing feedback to the designers. And one of the powers of the forms is that each of these fields can be tweaked. So you could say, for example, if I have a URL field, and then I can force a specific format, or if I have a date field, I can have a drop down with the date and time, so you can actually pick the date and time. You can do a lot of powerful things. We actually have a whole webinar on forms that you can see on our website, so that might be very useful. And I believe this is it for this particular case, and then we'll move on to the next case, our final case for today. Over to you, Jeff.
All righty. Okay, so we saw some great stuff there, and just kind of recapping notes in general, the whole tag feature within notes. Once again, we saw a default tag added. We saw Sylvain add and complete the tag form. We've seen notes, the application of a note hiding the proof at a later workflow step. And one thing to mention is that you can also order the tags. You can define the sequence of the tags in the note tag, and that becomes beneficial if maybe you're having more than one department look at a proof at the same time, and you want to like color code the tags by department. You can create a custom order to accomplish that. So, feature 5, calling all geeks. This one's advanced. And with automation, we're going to show you how adding one tag will add a tag of a different type as a hidden tag. Over to you, Celine.
Thank you. All right, so back to our project list. So you remember I added this project, the high priority tag, so I can actually see that this project's high priority. And so if I click on it and let's open it up, And I can see again at the top here, I've got my high priority tags that's visible. And let's go to a flat plan. And we talked earlier about how you can filter within a task, you can filter which proofs are seen. You can actually do that through the flat plan as well using tags. So whenever you have tags applied to proofs, you will be able to see, have an extra filter here that if you click on it, it will show you all the tags available. And as you can see, I've got the like tag that's used on 2 proofs in the for customer review, but I also have the editorial. This one wasn't added to any of the proofs. If you remember in their previous example in case 4, I added a couple of editorial or added an editorial tag to a note. What you guys didn't see is that in the background, we had an automation that would automatically add that tag at the proof level whenever it was added at a note level. This allows me to filter the proofs by essentially seeing, I want to see all of the proofs that have a note where this tag is used. This tag was actually added automatically to one of the proofs, to this one here, as a hidden tag. So that's, if you remember at the very beginning, Jeff was talking about how you could have certain tags that are hidden. This is one way where you want to see the note tags at this level. You want to be able to filter on proofs that have a specific note tags without bothering to add that tag to every proofs and have it be visible and clutter your screen. So in here, I'm only showing the relevant proof tags, but I'll also be able to filter proofs based on the tags that were used at the note level, if that makes it a little bit sense. So you could do it here from the flat plan. And one thing you can also do is, if I go back to my project dashboard, if I want to export my PDFs, one of the things you could do, one of the filters you've got access to is the tags. So I can say, well, show me all of the, only export the proofs that have, let's say the marketing approved tag, or show me all the proofs that have the editorial tag. So you can add a couple here, and then this would export the PDFs, only the PDFs that have this specific tag, whether it's hidden or not hidden. So that's one of the great ways you can use that. And then you could also make use of these tags in any of the custom reports. If you've got the advanced reporting module where you can build your own custom reports, those tags are available in those reports as well. We've got a couple of customers that actually tag a lot of their notes and actually report on the tags that were used. So it's a really good way of categorizing either notes or proofs or sections or projects. All right, back to you, Jeff.
Okay, thank you. All right, so as we saw a very advanced feature in Aproove. And if you're wondering, what is Jeff's favorite feature in Aproove? You just saw it. This is fantastic. So a great way to make tags work behind the scenes to facilitate and streamline the review within a workflow. All right, so that takes us to the start of our wrap up. Whether you're an existing executive customer or a prospective Aproove customer, we hope that you find this feature very useful, very powerful, and very multidimensional. Kind of just recapping in bullet form everything we've seen today, tags can certainly enhance your business process within the workflow, communicating information, organizing information, categorizing information. Project owners are empowered with filtering and sorting, as we saw Sylvain do with the high priority project advanced filter. And of course, that can be done at the project proof and note level. We saw note tags and how they can qualify proofs requiring context to be added around the tag added, getting a little more into the reviewer's mind and understanding the motivation behind that tag being added. We've seen proofs and notes that can be shown and hidden dynamically based on the tag applied to them. Tag forms allowing for the capture of information based on the tag, a wonderful way to pull information right into the note, into the moment within Aproove. We've seen how proof tags and section tags can clearly communicate, whether it be status or type or something relevant to that element. And most impressively, we've seen tags trigger actions that aid in workflow animation. And last but not least, we've seen that we can include tags, whether it be on a search filter, a PDF we export, or a report that's run out of Aproove. So many different ways to make tags work for you. So that concludes today's webinar. If you've posed any questions in the chat, we'll be sure to answer those afterwards. If you have additional questions after the webinar, feel free to drop us an email. We'll respond promptly. And the slides and recording for this webinar will be made available to you shortly after, hopefully by tomorrow. And if you are wondering, well, gee, I really enjoyed this webinar. When's the next one? That'll be for our R3 release. And the official release date for R3 is just a few days away. And the webinar for that will be in the next week or two to come. So again, thank you for joining us. We hope you found this insightful, and we look forward to working with you. Take care.